Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards here for Pawsome Stamps today, and I'm so excited to be bringing you this fun little spinner card using some products from the brand new release. So I have here the Hauntingly Sweet stamp set. Isn't it just adorable? I have gone ahead and stamped out all of these little candy corn images and coloured them in with my Copic markers, and aren't they just gorgeous? I love these guys, they're so much fun. I went ahead and cut them out, and now I'm ready to start creating my card base. So I've taken a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock, which I've trimmed down with a stitched rectangle die. It is 1/16 all the way around, 1/16 of an inch smaller than a standard 5.5 by 4.25 card base, but any stitched rectangle would work fine for this. Now I've gone ahead and masked off the edges of that stitched rectangle so that the stitching edge will be white when I remove the stencil. And I'm using this gorgeous Tangled web stencil from the new release. It's so much fun, perfect for Halloween. It would make such a fun card, and you can use it in so many different ways. I'm using it with Distress Oxide inks today, but I think it would look absolutely amazing with some kind of textured paste and perhaps onto some different coloured cardstock. It would be awesome. So there are lots of possibilities with this. But I've gone in with Shaded Lilac in the centre, chipped sapphire around the edge of that, and then I'm going to finish off with black soot right around the edges, just to create a bit of a gradient towards the centre. And this black soot is quite dark, but it works quite nicely when you blend it in with the chipped sapphire. And I will just go back and forth a little bit with my blending tools just to make sure that it all blends out nicely. But this was such a fun thing to do today. I really enjoyed making this. And I am always messy with stencils. I don't know, I always manage to shift them around, but this one was so easy to line back up. It was no problem whatsoever. So it was very, very easy to use. And as I say, I just went back and forth between my colours to get a nice little blend from that darkest to the lightest in the centre. And you can see it shifting around here, but I managed to put it back in place very easily. It was such a good stencil to use. So I'm just removing the magnet, and then I get the big reveal. I'm going to remove all that masking tape, and you can see that nice kind of white border all the way around the edge. This is just something that I like to do when I'm using a stitched rectangle and doing some ink blending. So I've taken a circle die and cut out a piece of black cardstock measuring 1 5/8 inches. And I've gone ahead and stamped out the sentiment Trick or Treat from the stamp set using some white heat embossing powder to get that nice white look on the black cardstock. So now I've got a piece of acetate, which I've cut from some nesting circle dies. The largest was 2 1/4 and the smallest was 1 1/4. And then I've taken a piece of black cardstock and I've cut that from some nesting circle dies as well, 1 5/8 and 1 1/4, so that I get kind of the same inside edge of both of those circles. But the black piece is just going to act as a bit of a washer to go between the card base and the kind of spinner that's going to go on top. So I'm going to add that down with some foam tape and just pop it down right in the center of my web that I've stenciled on there. And now I'm taking this acetate piece and I'm going to lay out my little candy corns all the way around. So I haven't used all of them. I've used 6. There's 7 in the stamp set. The little bee I'm going to put in the inside of my card because he's just too cute not to use, but he was a little bit big for my spinner. So I'm just going to glue these down onto my kind of acetate spinner. I'm just kind of eyeballing where to put them. I laid them out first to make sure that they all fit around. And I'm just going to stick them down with some liquid glue, making sure that their little feet kind of go around the edge of the inner circle. And I used acetate. You don't have to. You could use cardstock for this. And you don't really need any specialty dies for this. You just need some nesting circle dies. And you don't have to use the same measurements as I've used. I just kind of went with what I had in my stash and kind of made it work. So it's a really easy little interactive card to make. I'd never made one before, and I have to thank Candice from our design team for giving me the inspiration, because she makes some amazing ones of these, and I just kind of had to have a go. So now I'm going ahead and I'm attaching some foam tape to the back of my little candy corns. Now, I'm not going to be removing the release paper from these. This is just to give them a little bit of height from the back of the card to make sure that they don't droop down too much. So you don't want to stick them down. It's just to give them a little bit of height from the base of the card. So obviously you want it to be able to move, so don't take the release paper off. In the center of that black washer piece, I've added 2 layers of foam tape. So it's the foam tape comes up higher than the black piece, and then you can see that my spinner is kind of going to fit over top of that and spin around. And then my center circle, which is where I've done my sentiment, is just going to pop on top of that. So I've gone ahead and used a little bit of powder tool to help it spin smoothly. And then I'm using some liquid glue to make sure that that center circle is stuck down nicely. And there you can see my little mechanism is working really, really well, and I'm really happy with it. Didn't it turn out cute? These kind of little candy corns spinning around the web. I thought it was lots of fun. I've taken a piece of black cardstock and created a standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25. And then I've just trimmed out a piece of white cardstock. Again, the same size as that front panel, just 1/16 of an inch all the way around, smaller than a standard size card base. And I stamped out a sentiment from the stamp set which says, "Wishing you a hauntingly sweet Halloween," and I just thought that worked really, really nicely. I'm going to glue that down with some liquid glue, trying to center it up nicely so we get a nice edge all the way around. And then I'm going to take that leftover little candy corn, the bee, and I'm going to pop him inside. Thought about putting him up the top, but I decided he looked better down in the bottom right-hand corner, so that's where I've gone ahead and stuck him. And I just thought that was a nice little extra to add for the recipient when they open the card. And now all that's left to do is to layer this card front onto my card base, and the card is complete. It was so easy to put together. I really encourage you to try one of these spinner cards. It's so much fun. And I really encourage you to go and check out the Pawsome Stamps website to see all the amazing products from the new release. There are really some stunning things in there. Go and check it out. You won't be disappointed. I hope you enjoyed this card today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do leave it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you come back and join me again. And I've left a link here to another couple of videos that you might enjoy. Thanks again for joining me today, and take care. Bye-bye.